Hello and welcome. It is Monday, July 25th, and we have entered our home stretch here in week 4. You guys have been going full steam through week 3, delivered your week 3 new assignments for your Palace of Orinthalian composition, and also your week 2 revisions. And so we will be talking about the new week 4 assignments today, going through your new sound design assignment and also the final delivery of your final video captures. So we will discuss the process of gathering all of your resources together and kind of putting it into a nice format to be able to off and demonstrate your work, your music, and your sound effects working in a game. So we will also go back and do a little bit of peer review with the week 3 assignments. So we have 4 submissions here from the Palace of Orinthalian composition. And we will go through each one of these and discuss the different approaches overall. As you can see, they are laid out a little bit differently this time. We have an earth track, fire track, water track, and a wind track. And each one of them are vertically stacked on top of each other so that they play back together at the same time. They should all start at the same time and end at the same time so that they can loop together. So each one of these looks, at least visually, like they are set up correctly. So we'll take a listen to each one of them, and it should give us some, at least examples of different approaches to that composition. Your assignments for this week, things lighten up a little bit because we do not have a brand new game composition for week 4, since we don't have a week 5. We don't have the opportunity to do peer review or revisions, so we don't start up any brand new game here in week 4. But like I said, you were going at full pace there through week 3, so it gives us an opportunity to wrap everything up as we go through this last week and kind of finish out the month. You have your, you will be doing one more round of revisions from your Palace composition. So you'll still be working on a composition for this week. But you also have a couple of other assignments about finishing out your projects and preparing them for kind of a final delivery and means to kind of show off and demo the work that you've done. So our first assignment this week, your technical assignment will have you creating all of the sound effects from the Angry Bots composition from week 2. So after you have completed all of the music, you always go back and finish out the sound effects at some later time in the month. So you've already done this for 2D platformer. You created 18 sound effects for that one, and Angry Bots certainly has some fun and interesting opportunities for sound design. It's all about robots and explosions and weapons, and there's a lot of electronics and kind of synthy sort of sounds in there. So there's a lot of good opportunity for some fun stuff. So we have a total of 22 sounds. And when starting out this assignment, I would definitely suggest you take a similar approach that you did in 2D Platformer, where you should find the original sounds from the game and bring them into a new logic session and use them as a reference to understand what they should sort of sound like. Not only to what they sound like, the actual timbre of them, but the length and the volume and the formatting of the files to understand how they're going to be used in the game. So the best way of doing this is to get a copy of the game. should have it with your downloads from week 2, or you can go back on FSO and get a copy of the actual application itself. And you are going to right-click on the icon and choose Show Package Contents. Now, you've done this a couple of times, putting your actual music into the game before you do the video captures. It brings you to a folder called Contents. You can double-click on that. Go to a folder named Data. And in there, you should find a folder called Streaming Assets. Inside of Streaming Assets, you'll find a sound effects folder that will have all 22 of the sounds that you will be eventually creating. These are the original ones. You're not going to actually use these in your sound design, but you can use them as reference as you are building your session. So let me go back to Logic here and create a new session. I don't want to close that. New session. Here. Let's see. Get rid of this one. We'll just create one audio track. And I am going to, where did all those sounds go? Let me bring this over here. All right. I'm going to take all of these sounds, and I'm just going to drag them into Logic, right on a track. Oh, maybe I'm not. I'm going to take all these and drag them onto a track. There we go. We want to place all the files on one track so that they'll all kind of be back to back. And if I zoom out here, these are all of the original sounds. And you probably want to space them out a little bit to give you more room to work. But once you've done this, you can create a series of tracks below that where you will be building your sound effects. So have 4 or 5 layers there of empty tracks, and then as you go and find all of your sounds, you just build them directly below this file, and you can use the beginning and end of it to determine how long the file is, how loud the file should be, how does it fade in and out, does it loop, how kind of the overall shape of the waveform. Will give you a lot of information of how these sounds are going to work. So let me go back here and let's listen to all of these sounds. Make sure that we can hear all of this. Check. Okay. Let's try this one. That did not work. Hold on. Where am I going? Let's do this. And try that again. That works. Okay. So, when you are creating the sounds, I would definitely suggest that you go out and find all of the sounds first. There's a couple of resources that are documented in the project documentation. There's a couple of links to the Westar Music Library that has sound ideas and Hollywood Edge sounds, which are great resources. There's also freesound.org, where there's a lot of other sounds that you can search out just through Google. And you can use those sounds as you are building your own, but you should take some time to figure out different categories or groups of sounds that you can find as opposed to just pulling one sound at a time. So there are a lot of robots, there are also a lot of explosions, and there are a lot of doors in this game. So let's take a listen to some of these. We have airlock door open and close. Here's the close. Here's open. A lot of times with the open and close, you can get away with some of the elements just reversed to give you that sense of that it's going through the same motions. Exterior rain and interior hum. These are 2 looping files. There's their rain loop and their interior hum. Those are also known, well, interior hum is known as room tone. You can search that out and find very similar room ambiances. Then you have a couple of robot sounds. You have 2 sounds for the buzzer bot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sounds for the patrol mech or the mech bot, and 1, 2, 3, 4 sounds for the spider bot. A lot of these are explosions. Each one of these robots explode when ultimately destroyed. So you have the buzzer explosion. You have the patrol mech explosion. It's an extremely large explosion for a very large robot. Spider explosion. Self-destruct when the spider explodes on its own. There's also a missile explosion when the big mech bot shoots at you and it explodes, either hits you or hits a wall. So, lots of different explosion sound files. So you can go find a whole group of sounds and build out a couple of those explosions from that. The flying buzzer has zap electric, so you can find electricity sounds. That sounds like a laser gun. There's a couple of alerts. Each one of the robots, when it spots you, it kind of wakes up and it alerts, lets you know that it's coming after you. Patrol mech alert. There's the spider alert. The spider also has a proximity sound as the spider kind of chases you around and follows you, gets closer and closer. There is a beep that is, as it gets closer, the beep gets faster and faster. So you hear that that's just one single beep, but in the game, as it nears you, as it's about to explode, that beep just plays over and over, faster and faster. Let's see. What else have we? Alert sounds, destroyed. Footsteps, patrol mech. So when it's walking around, you have 2 sounds there. Shoot missile, when it shoots at you. Let's see. Alert sound. We did that. Destroyed. Proximity, self-destruct. A couple more doors. Interior close. Interior open. Door opening. Sounds more like a hum. This is when the player gets hit by a rocket from the mech. Shooting sound for the player gun. You probably want, number one, that needs to be a loop so that as the player holds down the mouse, it'll constantly go around. You should probably time your sounds to the same pattern as that, meaning, let's go in here and go find the gun, which is probably over here. Weapon, shooting. Right, this is the gun. Right, so it loops around. You probably want to time your weapon to be the same pattern as this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 impacts or 12 shots in that loop, so that you can. The reason that you should time to that pattern is that the animations, the muzzle flash in the game, reflect that also. So if they set it up to flash 12 times per second, so you have 12 shots in there. What else do we have? Player shooting, and the last one is terminal hacked. That's a computer sound. You stand next to the terminal, and it hacks it and opens up the one of the doors, which one, the locked door here. So you can do all sorts of different fun stuff with terminal hacked. I've heard with some computer voices actually say terminal hacked, some more synthy kind of computer techie sounds. All right. That should be most of it. What else? Let me jump. Hold on just a sec. Here. So here is the document that you get with the assignment. So it kind of shows you lining everything up underneath the original sounds inside of a new Logic session. Links to the websites that have good resources for sounds, and then screenshots of each one of the individual sounds happening to give you some indication of what's what as you're looking over everything. You can always listen to the sounds, look through this document, you'll get a pretty good idea. Oh, and watch the video. You get a pretty good idea of which sound is what. And then the final sound effects list. Just make sure everything is named according to this. Some of the files loop. 16-bit 44.1 stereo files. All right, so that should get you set up with the last game that will complete the sound effects for Angry Bots and get you set up for the next assignment here. All right. Let me take a quick pause here before we get into our next assignment. Hold on just a sec. Okay. So, for this assignment, you will be submitting your final capture videos to a discussion, class discussion post on FSO. So let me jump over here. All right, so this is the FSO page for this assignment. And it will have you going back through and creating a video capture of each one of the games and then uploading it to probably to YouTube so that you can stream it, and then posting the final video, that's the final YouTube video, and posting it in an FSO class discussion page. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to create another video capture of each one of the games. So each time that you have, well, let's do it this way. With each one of the game composition assignments, you have created a video capture of how your music is working in the game. And that is each time has been your first draft in the first submission for each week. Now that we've reached the end of the month, you have music and sound effects for 2D platformer, for Angry Bots, and you're going to do a revised version for FSO by the FSO for the Orinthalion, the Palace of Orinthalion composition by the end of this week. So you will have three completed games that has your music and your sound effects in it, and have those in a format that you can easily demo and show off. So you have already gone through the process of creating a video capture. You know of using QuickTime and Soundflower or there's a good alternate called Loopback for capturing your audio and capturing the video directly from these games. And so you will go through that process one more time with each one of these games, making sure both of your music and your sound effects are in the game. Let's see, do I still have... Right, so in AngryBots here, you'll go back into Show Package Contents, you'll go into Contents and Data and Streaming Assets, and you'll make sure that you have both your music and your sound effects working in the game. You'll get the video capture set up, and you'll do one more video capture of each one of your games to show how your music is working in that project, music and the sound effects and everything together. Oops. What happened here? Come back. Oh, it's hiding. That's what's going on. So you will, once you have a video, then we said that a video is going to be much more beneficial to you in the long run to be able to show off your music working in the game. We said that the client has to have a Mac, and they have to be able to run a Mac application, and they have to be able to play the game and know what's going on in the game, and pay attention to your music as they're playing the game. There's a lot of issues that can come up in relying on them having the best experience while playing the game. So creating a video capture allows you to show off exactly what you want to demonstrate in your music. So to be able to show off how the game is playing and how your music interacts with the game itself. So, and then once you have a video of it, you can host it on YouTube or put it on your website or share it or stream it however you would like. People are much quicker to click on a movie like a YouTube link and just watch a video than they are to download some random application that's like as an attachment to an email or downloaded from Dropbox or something like that. Most people, rightfully so, will not download and run random applications on their computer. So a video is a great way of sharing that. Hosting it on YouTube or some other platform like Vimeo to be able to host the video and share it and embed it is going to be beneficial for you so that you can quickly and easily pass it all around. So you will, once you've completed your video capture, you will then upload that video to YouTube. You will create an account if you haven't already. There's instruction. Let's go back here. Back here. Upload the video to YouTube. There's a good support page if you haven't done that already, but I'm pretty sure you should be a pro at that after having gone through some previous classes through the degree program. Then you are going to embed it in FSO, and there's a little bit of a challenge there. You certainly are familiar with this screen of attaching media and uploading media for your project. And if you want to embed a video into a class discussion, you need to get the embed link. And it's pretty easy to do on YouTube. You just click embed here. The only problem is you don't want to take this full link. There's a little section here that's after the source, or this is the source email that you want to pull. It's between these quotes. Here on the page, it actually points out to you where the actual HTML link that you want to use to properly embed that into FSO. So you just pull this link right there, you drop it into this field on FSO, and it will post it up nicely. Let me show you here. Let me get back to where I was. So this way, everybody will post up their video links, and we can take a look at everybody's and make comments and kind of show off what you have accomplished throughout the month. So it gives us a good way of quickly and easily sharing the work that we have done. Let's see. Let me show you from last month here what this ends up looking like. Here we go. It'll probably take a moment to load up. All right, so everybody posts up their videos, and we can quickly check them out, and you can make comments and see what everybody has been up to. So, and then once you have these videos, then they're ready to go. Then you can share them around to other places and quickly and easily distribute them. So that should get you going. The real process of this, you've already done before. It's just setting up the video captures and playing through the games. And just you want to show off exactly what you want to demo. So make them quality. You shouldn't make them too long. They should be about 60 seconds, less than 2 minutes, for people to be able to check out everything that's happening in the game. So that is the new assignment there. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me and let me know if you're having any issues with the assignments through the class. But for now, we're going to go through and take a listen to, let's see, we don't need that anymore. And we don't need this anymore. So we have a couple of submissions here from the Palace of Orinthalion composition. And I'm going to play the part of the game engine and mix the levels up and down as you would hear them in the game. So let's do this. Let's make this a little bit easier to read. Earth, fire, water, wind. Okay, so I have the 4 faders here, and when the game starts, all of the faders are down at -infinity, so you don't hear anything. And then one by one, when you walk out the earth door, the fader, and you press the E key, the fader goes over 3 seconds from -infinity up to 0. And then you walk out the fire door and you press E and it fades up over 3 seconds. If you were to walk back to the earth door and turn that one off, it would fade that out by 3 seconds. You could walk out each one of these doors, press E, and have them all fade in. And then by the end of it, you could have up to 4 playing at the same time. That's why they're vertically stacked. The only way to keep these all playing in sync is to make sure they start at the same time, they end at the same time. They should be in the same tempo, the same key, and feel like they come or they form the same song. It is the main thing that we are listening for is for any sort of dissonance, any sort of issues, pitches, clashing notes, or any sort of dissonant rhythms where things clash. So visually, they look like they're set up to loop properly. You want to make sure when all 4 of these faders are at unity, that is the perfect mix that you want to be heard in the game. This one concerns me a little bit because the levels of each one of these are very high, so it will probably distort the main output. You want to make sure that the level of each one of the 4 bounces when mixed together gives you the proper or the mix that you intend on this stereo output. Right. that should be enough. Let's go ahead and take a listen here. We'll go through one at a time. I will start out. I'll fade in the earth cue and then listen to them one by one, and then at the end I'll bring in all four of them together. All right, let's see what happens. Actually, noticing here, there looks like there's a gap at the beginning of the earth cue. We'll take a listen to that. Oh, no, it's just like a low cello. All right, let's check the loop. Yeah, you're going to want to watch out for that. The beginning and the end should loop a little bit smoother. You're going to want to make sure that you don't have that intro part there, that intro section coming in. I would say that the instrumentation in the earth loop is a little bit big with the kind of section or ensemble strings. Maybe replace some of those strings with some winds, clarinet or a bassoon. And watch out for the timpani roll. That could be left for the fire cue. Go for more bouncy, smaller instrumentation through the earth cue. Let's go to the wind cue. This one represents a little bit of stealth or danger. Alright, this is a little too emotional. It would work quite well for the water cue overall. It would also have, is that a string line? Yeah, use that string through the whole cue. Maybe add in a flute. But overall, you should actually be adding instrumentation more to the lower range. Take the cellos from the earth cue, and that would actually work quite well. This over here with the work quite well against the here in the lower registers of the wind cue. Let's go to the fire cue. Could use more instrumentation, probably more power, bigger brass. Probably a string section could also help. More of the larger orchestral sections. Watch that note. That note. Watch the loop also. And start from this phrase here. Alright, let's bring in the water loop. This is to the emotional line. Choir works well. There's the flute. Watch the loop there. Water loop works well, fits the overall theme. Let's bring these together. Yeah, you can definitely have some of the instrumentation from the wind loop move to the water loop. It fits the more fragile and emotional theme here for the water cue. More power from the fire cue. lot of it's just balancing where the instrumentation is. Once you bring it all together, it sounds, it works quite well, but you could probably take some of these instruments and shuffle them around to some of the other layers and fill out the gaps remaining, and it will work out well. Overall, it structurally fits nicely. There's no clashing notes, there's no clashing rhythms. All right, nice work. All right, let's try the next one here. Let's see, I want to fade them all out again. And let's take a listen to the earth cue. Oh, this goes up. There's some interesting instrumentation in there that when it starts here, this is actually where you should probably take that cymbal swell and put it over the endings. So like have it swell and then have that drop or that hit on the downbeats come in where the earth cue is. Where is that? I don't know if this is going to work. Boom. Right on that downbeat, and have the loop start there along with, and have that that plucked string line play through the entire cue, including the loop. Because in the beginning it sounds a little bit sparse with just the strings. I thought that's initially where it was going, and then the problem is it just gets cut off when it gets over to here, and it just kind of drops out as it loops around. There's a lot of good instrumentation here in the wind. I got to hear what the fire sounds like, because this might be more appropriate for that. Let's see here. Right, the fire cue is really quite heavy. Sorry, I call it quite right heavy. So a lot of timpani over there. Watch how it's panned. Yeah, so some of that percussion could probably come from the wind loop over to the fire loop, or fire cue. And bring the timpanis that are in the fire, bring those more towards the center. There is also a strong lead line that's here in the wind cue that might be the lead string line that might be more appropriate for the fire cue. The fire definitely needs more percussion for strong impact. good melodic development in each one of them. Let's bring them all in together. Overall, when they're mixed together, they're going to overload the main output when they sit at unity, so they should be backed off just a little bit in the bounce. There's some good melodies that stick out. Try carving out a little bit more room with the instrumentation. Put them all in the same reverb, but pan. You did have some of the instrumentation that was panned a little bit, like the percussion was panned a little bit too hard, but in the similar reverb it could maybe move it more towards the center. But everything fits together. I think it's more about making it all fit within the boundaries of your stereo output and your left to right stereo mix. Volume and pan and EQ is mostly will probably make everything fit a bit easier in the mix. But nice work overall. Definitely fits the themes well as you progress through the game. All right, let me bring this back down here. All right, we'll try the next one. All right, the size of the instrumentation works well with the guitar line and the flute. Could try adding a bit more percussion. And probably another instrument between the guitar and the flute, whether that's another woodwind or I don't know if just percussion will be enough. Maybe something as a counterpoint line to that lead flute. Let's bring the wind cue. Alright, there's some tension there, some dissonance between the line through the wind cue. Let's try. Definitely going to need more instrumentation through here. Add in, you get the woodwind in there. Low cellos, low brass, and then a little instrument in a higher register that's kind of sprinkled on top of all the more low-end cues. You could even have a pulse there with a timpani or a low bass drum that boom, boom, that kind of hits those downbeats. Let's go to the fire cue. Yeah, some of the instrumentation in the wind cue is going to clash with the other cues. The fire cue definitely needs more instrumentation. Watch the loop, everything kind of gets cut off. More percussion, string lines. Watch the repetition in the more of the harmonic. More of the harmonic progression of the brass. Melody moves around a little bit, but yeah, and that loop is going to cause issues. Let's go to the water cue. And the melody of the fire and the water are pretty close to each other. I would separate the layers out a bit more through the water cue. They follow each other pretty closely. Let's bring these in together. Yeah, watch the repetition, watch the dissonance between, there's some keys that feel, there's some notes that feel out of key overall. Work on more percussion. A couple of things there to tighten up overall. Oh, and watch the loop, because everything, they all have issues when they loop, then it becomes quite obvious when played together. Alright, this one concerns me for the levels. I'm going to turn this way down. Let's start with the earth cue. You can even see it's limited, just sits right there. But progression-wise, works out well. Guitar part lays a nice foundation. Got the flutes playing the melodies. A little bit of percussion, adding to the pace. Alright, that one works nicely. Let's go to the wind cue. Good. Yeah, there's some instrumentation in the lower registers. There's a little bit of melody up top from the flutes. Got some pizzicato strings in there. Excellent interplay between the different layers. Let's bring this fire cue. Probably have some strings in there also, a little bit of extra instrumentation, some ostinato strings kind of flailing away in the background, providing a little bit more tension overall, maybe a bit more percussion. The mix overall, beyond having all four of them play together, which would cause issues, but each one of them is pretty limited, quite hard. So when things like the loop, the fire cue, which is supposed to be loud and strong, when that's playing, you lose some of the dynamics and you lose the power of the low end and the attacks of the instruments. So back off of the compressors. It probably is across a master. You might have a compressor or limiter across the master somewhere, or too much on the individual instruments. So watch out for that to get as much power, because the levels between the fire cue should be strong like this, but the earth or the wind cue might be quite a bit lower overall. Here's the water cue. Right. So the harp works nicely. Good melodic development in each cue. The cues loop well enough. Shouldn't cause an issue in the game. So here's, let me just bring these up. So when played together with all of the compressors on the kind of, or the limiters preventing the each one of these bounces, and just kind of brick wall, stop them right there. It kind of hurts when it mixes it together, and you really lose the dynamics of the full mix. So, but compositionally, orchestration, instrumentation, all of that fits well in with the theme of the game, or of each one of the sections. So nice work overall. Everybody had a good submission with some good ideas, and just a couple of tweaks that need to happen overall. So we will have one more opportunity for revisions on this assignment. Um, I guess I should mention that there is really no revision opportunity for week 4 because we don't have a week 5 to do that. So, but there is no brand new game composition, so you should be fine on that. What else can I come up with? I think that is most everything that we needed to hit on for this afternoon. So please reach out and email if you have any questions. Other than that, I will see you again on Wednesday. And you have a good afternoon. Thank you very much.